Hello chess lovers, welcome back to my channel. Today we are traveling back to 1964 to the Amsterdam Interzonal Tournament. This event was the qualifier for the World Championship candidates matches. And the winner of this tournament, none other than the magician from Riga, Mikhail Tal. Tal was in terrifying form during this period. In this game he has the white pieces against the strong Hungarian grandmaster Istvan Bilek. What you are about to see is a textbook definition of Tal magic. It features a knight that simply refuses to die and a position where logic seems to bend to Tal's will. Let's dive in. Tal started with pawn e4. And the answer of Bilek was c5. So he played the Sicilian Defense. Knight f3 from Tal, d6 from Black. Pawn to d4, and the c-pawn captures on d4. The white knight recaptures, and Black moves his knight to f6. We have knight to c3 from white, and pawn to a6 from Black. We have now the Najdorf variation on the board. Bishop g5. Here Tal chooses the classical main line. Knight b to d7 from Black. This is a solid, slightly older setup compared to the modern e6 lines. Bishop c4 and h6 from Black. In this position it's better to play queen to a5. Now Tal captures with his bishop on f6. And white has a positional advantage. Black recaptures with the knight. Queen to e2 from Tal. Tal prepares to castle long. The plan is simple. Connect the rooks, push the f-pawn and storm the king side of Black. Istvan Bilek plays pawn to e6. And now we have queenside castling from white. Queen c7 from Black. The threat from white was pawn to e5. Pawn to f4 from white. White wants to push e5 to open lines against the Black king. To prevent that, Bilek moves his pawn to e5. At the first sight, this looks active. It stops white from playing e5, but positionally, this is a sin, because that move permanently weakens the d5 square and leaves the f5 square vulnerable. But what should Black play? The position is already difficult. After bishop to e7 would follow e5. Then the pawn from d captures on e. The f-pawn captures on the e square. Knight to d7 back. And the white knight captures on e6. The f-pawn captures the knight. And the white queen comes to h5 with check. Now we have king to d8. And the bishop captures on e6. In this position, black is lost. But black played pawn to e5. And the answer from Tal was knight to d5. Black eliminates this knight, and white recaptures with the e-pawn. Bishop to e7 now from black. After that move, white gets a dangerous attack. Better is in this position to play pawn to g6. Tal opens the lines now. He captures with the f-pawn to e5, and black recaptures with the d-pawn. Pause the video and try to find the move Tal played. I will give you a couple of seconds. Yes, the white knight moves to e6. A stunning knight sacrifice. He brings the knight deep into enemy territory. Maybe Bilek was in panic because he played queen to d6. But this move is a losing move. Also a losing move is to capture with the pawn on e6. After that would follow queen to h5 with check, king to f8. The d-pawn captures on e6. Black bishop moves to f6. Pawn to e7 with check. The black queen has to capture on e7. And after that, the white rook comes to d8 with check. And black is losing. But now we have knight captures on g7 with check, king to f8, and the knight comes back to e6 with check. The knight returns to the crime scene. Tal offers the sacrifice again. It is psychological warfare. If black takes now, the e-file opens up for the white queen to check the king. Bilek refuses again and play king to e8. Look to this position. Tal damaged the black position with only a few moves. If black captures the knight on e6 instead of moving the king to e8, then it follows rook from h to f1 with check, king to g7, the d-pawn captures on e6, queen to c7, white rook to f7 with check, king to g8, queen to g4 with check. The black bishop comes to g5 and gives a check. White queen captures on g5. The h-pawn recaptures. And finally, the white rook from f7 captures the queen on c7. And the position of black is lost. Black will lose the game also in another variation. If the f7 pawn captures on e6, the rook from h1 gives a check on f1, rook to g8, then we would have queen to h5, bishop g5 with check, king to b1, the black queen moves to e7, white queen gives a check on g6, black queen to g7, queen e8 check, king to h7, and then we have a deadly bishop check on d3. We see black is lost in all variations. In this position we have rook from h to f1, bishop to g5 with check, king to b1, pawn to b5, white queen moves to h5, black bishop to f4, and white bishop to b3, pawn to a5, and now we have knight to c7 with check. The black queen is forced to take on c7. The knight is gone, but this piece did its job. The next deadly move from Tal is pawn to d6, queen to d7. If moves the queen to h7 instead of d7, Tal would have played pawn to d7 with check. Bishop captures on d7. The white queen captures then on f7 with check. King to d8. And now bishop to e6. And black is lost. Back to the position. Now we have the next sacrifice from Tal. He captures with the rook on f4. Black recaptures. And finally we have queen to e5 with check. If now the king moves, checkmate will follow shortly on the e-file or the back rank. Realizing he is about to lose a rook and get checkmated, Grandmaster Istvan Bilek resigned. A brutal, brilliant performance by Mikhail Tal, punishing a single positional mistake. What was your favorite move? The knight to e6 sacrifice or the d6 pawn push? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.